Good evening, beautiful peoples. Neil Richter here, aka Recorded by Richter. I was able to finally change my YouTube handle now, so I have something a little bit more official looking than just Neil Richter 8400. So I'm now Recorded by Richter that you can follow me and subscribe on. But today I am here for a one-of-a-kind review of Kendrick Lamar's GNX. If you're unfamiliar with that album, it is the brand new studio album by my favorite rapper of this generation, and he might even be creeping into my of all time category. For the longest time in my head, I balanced around three artists until Kendrick came along. That was Nas, Andre 3000, and Biggie. And now Kendrick is in that, making my Mount Rushmore. Those four right there are my four favorite. And that's not to say that I think that they are necessarily the most skilled of all of the rappers. They pretty much are up there, though, debatable. But these are the ones who I think make the best music, the most listenable music, the stuff that I play the most, the stuff that ends up being the soundtrack to my life. And so Kendrick has definitely led the pack for me for the last 10, 12 years now. I was able to see Kendrick Lamar for the first time live right before Good Kid, Mad City dropped, when he was at Bonnaroo, and he was doing mostly Section 80 and Overly Dedicated at that time. So it's just awesome to have watched his trajectory from there to now. You know, when Good Kid, Mad City came out, I saw him at the Fillmore in Detroit in the front row, and now I'm about to see him at where the Lions play football. So that is a pretty insane thing to accomplish. Not too many people can play football stadiums. That's, you know, Taylor Swift levels. It's the Beyonce, the big pop stars. I don't even know if Beyonce did football stadiums or not. I'd have to look into that. But anyways, my review, I teased it on Instagram that it was going to be a one-of-a-kind music review. And I think you guys will agree once you see what I did here. Sometimes, you know, I just want to be able to be creative while I'm listening to my favorite artists. And that's kind of what I chose to do for the review for this. I decided to make my review for Kendrick Lamar's GNX a painting. I painted it. I just listened to the album a lot over the last month or so, and I decided to paint what came to mind for the album. So I'm gonna bring that painting up here so you guys can take a look at it. Put it right there for you. And honestly, what came to mind here with painting this, it started with the very first track on the album, Whacked Out Murals. In Whacked Out Murals, he has a line in there that says, "Riding in my GNX with Anita Baker in the tape deck, it's gonna be a sweet love." And that's what kind of gave me the idea. It just kind of popped in my head, this scenery. I was thinking about, you know, Kendrick in his GNX cruising through the California desert. And I decided to paint the surroundings thematically to what some of the stuff that he talks about on the album. So one big concept that Kendrick has been running with from the Drake beef on, and it started mostly at the Pop Out concert, was uniting the gangs in LA, uniting Bloods, Crips, Pirus, whatever, what have you. And so I decided to represent that in the sunset. So I decided to make the sunset a nice blend of blues and reds meeting in the middle with purple. I thought that was a good representation of unity and coming together in a cool way that still fits my scenery and what I wanted to paint here. And then I just kind of went from there. You know, I added in the mountain scene so you could see it in the background with some birds flying and the sun setting. And then obviously down here is Kendrick's GNX. And if you're wondering why I have it on the left side of the road, it's because I have tumbleweed here on the right side. And to me, the tumbleweed, tumbleweed represents is like desolation and emptiness. And I kind of had that almost as a representation of Drake and how he's felt post-battle, and Kendrick in his GNX passing him by. So that was why I put that there. There was other themes that I thought of that I thought were cool, like the road here. You could easily just say that this is him driving off into the sunset, but I kind of wanted to make like it look like it could almost be a UFO abducting Kendrick, because he does talk about aliens and UFOs throughout his music. You know, on GNX he has a line where he says, "I'm starting to see spaceships on Rosecrans," which is a street from where he's at. And so I also decided it'd be funny just to hide a couple aliens behind the cactus, kind of like peeking in on Kendrick, seeing what he's up to, because Kendrick, something that gets brought up a lot in the hip-hop world is alien rappers. Who are the alien rappers? Black Thought, Royce the 5'9", Eminem, the guys that are just so good at it that they call them aliens. And I think Kendrick is a good representation of one of those alien rappers, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of play with that a little bit. And then also I've got, you know, a goat painted back here because I think Kendrick is one of the goats. You know, I put in some cactus around here and, you know, just kind of painted what I thought came to mind. I didn't use any reference photos. I just kind of painted what I thought a California desert would look like. And then another cool thing about the GNX, the car, the Buick GNX that Kendrick is talking about on this, which was created in the same year that he was born, same year I was born also, in 1987. And they say that it's, you know, a muscle street car that can blow luxury designer brands out of the water. And to me, that also kind of represents the type of artist that Kendrick is versus the type of artist a Drake is. I think Drake would be more like luxury raps. He's bragging a lot in his music. He's talking about the stuff that he has. And so I think that's the luxury kind of car. And the GNX can beat those cars right off the lot with just street muscle, determination, and drive. And that's kind of exactly what Kendrick is. And I think that's what that kind of represents to him in a way. And the fact that it's so rare, which is obviously the fact that Kendrick is such a rare and special rapper. He was just named Billboard's Pop Star of the Year for 2024, which I think is hilarious because now Kendrick has reached pop star status. And what's so impressive and something that I love so much about him for that, I'm going to put this back over here, is the fact that he never wavered from who he is. Kendrick achieved this pop star status without having to sell out and make pop-friendly records like Drake has. You know, Kendrick has stuck to his code, his way of thinking, and has always remained true to that. And I think that's so rare. I mean, it's so hard for an artist to not to succumb to the pressures of labels and social media and what have you. There's so many voices and talking heads everywhere nowadays that it can become overwhelming for people that are in the creative world. So I just thought Kendrick did a phenomenal job with that. You know, if I pull back from this painting a little bit, going through the track listing a little bit, Whacked Out Murals, you know, he starts off very aggressive. The beat is very cinematic, and he is taking you through his mind since the last time we heard him during the summertime when him and Drake were going at it. And I think that's another thing that's so special about him is he doesn't play the social media games. So when Kendrick drops, everyone stops and goes and runs to it because that's how you catch up with his life. That's how you keep up with what he's doing. He's not showing you all of that in the social media world. So he's going to tell you how he feels in his music. And that's important to me. I don't think enough people value that. And I think oversaturation on social media can kind of ruin the art in a sense. It kind of takes away the mystery and the allure of an artist. I mean, I think people overshare, and it's not even necessarily the artist's fault. It's a lot of label pressure to do so. So when someone can come in like J. Cole or Kendrick and just drop music and then disappear for a while, I love that. I love that so much. But then anyways, going on through that, you get Whacked Out Murals into Squabble Up, and Squabble Up is what people are affectionately calling broccoli prior to the album coming out, because it is the continuation of the snippet you hear in the Not Like Us video. So that was dope to finally get that, and I discussed that in length because of the video here on my YouTube channel, so you can go see that. I talked about some of the Easter eggs in the video. But then we keep moving on, and you get to, I believe Luther is next with SZA, and this one is probably the most beautiful record that Kendrick has ever made, honestly. I really feel that way, like the Luther Vandross sample, and then the way that Kendrick and SZA are trading lines and harmonizing, I just think is super beautiful. It doesn't all have to be hard-hitting, gut-punching, or club records. You know, you can have really pretty, beautiful music in hip-hop and still be as amazing as these guys are. And then it's really also awesome because Kendrick and SZA are now going to be going on tour together, and they have so many songs together, so hopefully they'll get together on stage during the tour and perform some of this music. But going on from there, I'm trying to remember the track list orders after that. Oh, after that you have Man at the Garden, which is the homage to Nas in a way, which Kendrick pays homage to Nas a few times on this album. And that really kind of got me thinking about the type of artist Kendrick is. And I think Kendrick does have Jay-Z aspirations as far as being a businessman. But when it comes to this music, I've always felt Kendrick is more Nas than Jay-Z. More, let me keep it truth-telling. Let me, keep the streets fed. Let me, talk about things that are important and not just, how much art I've bought and how much money I have and all this. Because Jay-Z is known for luxury raps. He's done it forever. 444, he has probably his most valuable messaging. But before that, Jay-Z was always luxury raps. And I'm sorry, but I've always valued Nas way more than Jay-Z as far as the continuation of their careers went. I love, Blueprint. I love Reasonable Doubt, Black Album. But I think Nas, and especially what Nas is doing now, 6 albums in 3 years. So I think maybe Kendrick might be making a point here. Like, I'm about to go on a Nas type of run in this hip-hop game. Like, you are going to see me a lot. And I think that that's maybe what he was getting at, why he's paying homage. I know he also talked about Nas is like the only one that congratulated him for getting the Super Bowl. So that would be awesome, man. In a perfect world, I would love to hear Kendrick and Nas. Kendrick and Nas and Andre 3000. I can't do Biggie, obviously, because Biggie's passed. But, man, in a perfect world, that'd be the shit. But on from Man at the Gardens, I think you get up to tracks like Peekaboo comes up and Resurrection, which Resurrection is probably one of the coolest hip-hop songs I've heard in a while conceptually. Kendrick basically is talking about how God sent music down with the angels as a way to heal people, and just like everything else in human form, we're born sinners, so the people that he placed in get lost to various vices along the way. You have the first one talking about women and fame and money, and then you get to the Billie Holiday story, which is more about drugs, and all these people start coming to their vices. And then the final verse is basically a conversation with Kendrick is having himself with God, and I just think that that's awesome. And then he also kind of threw this in Drake's face a little bit, because he's definitely paying homage to Tupac. You got a Tupac sample, you got a Tupac cadence, like kind of the way that he's vocalizing the first 2 verses. The third one, if you notice, he does switch back to his own voice, like a lot more Kendrick Lamar style, and the first 2 verses were way more Pac cadence. So I thought that was super dope. I thought it was really dope. I'm not going to go through every one of the last songs because I'm kind of starting to forget the order of the songs on the album. But I love that he is bringing regional rap back. It seems like he's made the Sonics all very LA. They almost have like an 80s, 90s kind of banger feel to it to me. The way that the hard hitting, like electronic kind of grooves to it. But he's got all these young cats from the LA area that like not too many people know their names. And in a lot of these cases, it's their first time like getting any kind of recognition. So for Kendrick to, put these dudes on Billboard charts, you know, because he's so popular for like, I just think that's amazing. I think regional rap is something that's been missing over the last handful of years. Nobody sounds like where they're from, and that's not a bad thing, but I do like when there is a little bit of that in their music. Like I do like when you can tell where an artist is from a little bit, because everyone's kind of just taken from each other now, like, and it's kind of hard to tell. So I do like that regional thing. I don't know, it just makes for like the sport part of hip hop more fun, I guess. So I'm happy that he's doing that. And then you know, you got a lot more, this is the more up and easily listenable Kendrick album. Like, I can't say that it's my favorite off rip, because Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers did so much for me as a person, helped me get right with myself, helped me quit drinking. And so I'll always hold that one to a super, super, super high standard. Plus, I think like the subject matters that Kendrick was talking about on that album are very brave in a sense, because not too many people in hip hop cover stuff that he's covering on there. So I think it's hard for me to put it over that or Damn, you know, Damn and To Pimp a Butterfly. But I got to live with it more, I guess, to truly put it in a ranking system with the rest of his albums. But he did it again. I mean, this is, you know, there's very few people that have runs like this in hip hop. You know, you had an awesome 4 albums in a row out of Kanye. I'm trying to think who else had like 4 or more. I mean, that's so hard to do. Outkast. Nas, I don't even know if he had 4 in a row. Big never got to 4. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. But I am very, very, very excited to see some of these played out on loudspeakers in the stadium when he goes on tour. I've got my tickets to go see. I got tickets for myself and my girlfriend to see them at Ford Field next June, I think, is the concert. So I cannot wait for that. I have not missed a Kendrick tour yet. I saw him before Good Kid, Mad City came out, after Good Kid, Mad City came out. I don't think he did a full tour for To Pimp a Butterfly. I think that was like a select city one, and that one unfortunately didn't come to Detroit, so I didn't get to see him then. But I saw him after Damn. I saw him on the floor at Little Caesars Arena when Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers came out, and now I'll be seeing him at Ford Field and football stadiums. So it's just really, really impressive, the creativity and the drive that Kendrick has to do the things that he's done. I didn't think we'd ever see anyone systematically take apart the biggest pop rap artist of all time. Like, no one has had a run like Drake has, and it's insane. I had a conversation with my 9-year-old nephew over the holidays, and he's like, nobody likes Drake anymore. We all like Kendrick. And I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. My 9-year-old nephew's already into this kind of stuff. But anyways, to end this out, I will just kind of give you a little bit of a closer view on this painting that I did. I'm brand new to painting, by the way. I always was into drawing in art class, but painting for me is a new thing, a new hobby that I've gotten into. And so I'm going to try out my hand at doing some painting to albums that I love. And so that's this one for me. Kendrick Lamar, GNX. I hope you can see that good in the view. That is something that I've been working on. So if you like it, let me know in the comments. And I will be back with some more reviews and music history. Next, I will be cutting my second part of my video on Pink Floyd. The second part will be about the personnel of the band, or the personnel in Pink Floyd, because I think I forgot to cover each member, and that will kind of help tell the story a little bit. And then I'm going to get into reviewing their album Metal. So look out for that and plenty of other stuff. I've been posting tons of concert footage, just more so for myself. But if you want to watch that stuff, it's out there. I've got shorts galore on my page now. So it's kind of coming together. This is a really fun process learning how this YouTube goes. So stick with me and we'll keep getting better each week. Peace.